And, some of us get overwhelmed, and why wouldn't we, when people just talk about all the changes we need to have in our life. And you and I can't change everything. We don't have the emotional stamina, we don't have the physical stamina, we don't have the mental stamina to change everything in our life all at once. But intentional living says, no. Be intentional. Pick out the one thing you want to change first. And start right there. I promise you this works. Just take one thing. Last year I just took one thing, my health. I said, John, you're 68 then. I'm 69 now. And you want to have another 15 to 20 year run. So how are we going to do this? Well, we're going to do this. We're going to have to get intentional about the health. And all year I just worked on health. Just worked on it. Just said, okay, let's get healthy. Let's get it going. I just was out in Beaver Creek and I just snowshoed up to the top of a mountain and went all the way at the top and then made a snow angel and just, life is good. You see, intentional living says just take one step at a time. In other words, take 4 or 5 things that you really want to change about your life, and if you're not sure what those should be, ask somebody that knows you. They'll be glad to help. They'll say, oh my God, you're limiting me to 5? Oh, that's a little disappointing. Wow. And you take that step, whatever it is, and you begin to be deliberate, you begin to be consistent, you begin to be willful in that area. In fact, I can promise you, I'm going to even break it down for you. I'm going to break down some things I would encourage you to be intentional in. So let me I can't get them all in this session, but we got 2 sessions, okay? So let me take you as far as I can. You're really good, by the way. You're just so receptive, and the person on your left is even doing a little better. I mean, they're not totally there, but I've seen a marked improvement since you've taken interest in them. And since you've offered to help them, I can see they're doing better. They're doing a little bit better. But let me just share with you, I don't know. In this session, I may want to do 1, maybe 2. But let me tell you one area you want to become intentional in, and that is in the area of your personal growth. You really want to get intentional on your self-development. You see, the only guarantee that tomorrow will get better is that you get better today. You don't get better while you sleep. So the only guarantee that tomorrow gets better is that you get better today. And I just want you to be very intentional in your growth. I was in my 20s when Kurt Kampmeyer sat beside me at a breakfast at the Holiday Inn in Lancaster, Ohio, and he looked at me and said, John, what is your plan for growth? I didn't have one. Didn't know I was supposed to have one. Nobody ever asked me that question. Nobody ever said, John, you're supposed to have a plan for growth. And because I was a young leader, I was embarrassed, and so I tried to give him answers. Of course, there were no answers. I had no plan for growth, so I was like a plane circling a field trying to come in for a landing. I just kind of go around and around in my conversation for about 10, 12 minutes, and finally I realized I wasn't going anywhere. I just shut up and landed the plane. And as soon as I shut up, he looked at me and he smiled. He said, you don't have a plan, do you? No, I don't have a plan. No. And then he said the words that changed my life. He said, John, growth is not automatic. You don't automatically get better. You don't automatically grow. Now, I'll tell you what you automatically do. You automatically get older. That's automatic. You don't have to take a course on that. You don't have to get up every day and say, ooh, I got to work on getting older. Oh my gosh, focus now, John, focus here. Let's see if we can get a day older here. No. It's all automatic. You don't need to worry about that. Death, it's automatic. You don't need to worry about it. You don't need to take a course on death. You don't need to say, boy, you got a book on dying. I got to figure out how to do this. Man, wow, I just got to get a manual on how to do it. No, you don't need to worry about that. That stuff's automatic. Growth, that's not automatic. That's why many people, they get older, but they don't get better. Maturity doesn't always accompany age. Sometimes age comes alone. You've got to understand that if you're going to personally develop and grow, you've got to be intentional. And so I went around to my friends, and after Kurt said I had to be intentional in growth, I went around and said, I asked them, do you have a growth plan? I'll bet over the next 6 months I ask at least 300 people, friends of mine, do you have a growth plan? Every one of them, no. No one had a growth plan. I didn't have a growth plan. That's the day I realized the reason we don't hit capacity in our life and reach our potential is not because we can't. It's because we're not intentional. Everything worthwhile is uphill. And every day I have to be intentional. I have to focus. I have to think. I have to do things that will get me uphill. I wrote a book a few years ago called The 15 Laws of Growth. Oh, that's good. How many of you have that book? I'm just curious. Oh, a lot of you. Oh, yes. Well, no. Put your hands back up. These are the true people that are growing. The rest of you are on their left. By the way, get that book. I'm not suggesting it. I'm telling it. Don't let another day go by without you getting that book. You got to get into that book and you got to start reading it, because I've got laws of growth that'll help you begin to implement those laws into your life, and you'll begin to grow. And you say, John, why are you so passionate about that? It's very simple. You can't grow your organization until you grow yourself. And you can't grow people until you grow yourself. Remember this, as a leader, everything stops when you stop. And the only way that you can keep it growing, thriving, fruitful, is for you to be growing, thriving, and fruitful. I would also give you another quick suggestion. My father, who is 94, still alive, still works. My father understood this, and when we got to the 7th grade, we were paid to read books. That's how we got our allowance. We were paid to read books. We were not paid to do chores. My friends all got paid to do chores. I thought it was a good idea. I went to my dad and said, hey, Dad, my friends get paid to do chores. What do you think? He said, I think it's a terrible idea. He said, I'll never pay you to do chores. Why would I pay you to do chores? You do chores because you're part of a family, and I don't pay you to be part of a family. In fact, he said, by the time that you were born, you already owed your mother for 9 months of room and board. So shut up and take out the garbage. And by the way, why would I pay you to take out the garbage? Why would I put my money value on taking out the garbage unless I wanted you to grow up and be a garbage man? He said, my value is in books, good reading. He picked out the books. Whatever he bought the book for is what he paid us to read it. We were required to read 30 minutes every day, and every night at the dinner table, guess what we talked about? What we were reading, what we were learning. Changed my life. I'm the middle child. My older brother, by the time he graduated from college, he was already a millionaire. By the time I was 29, I had the 10th largest nonprofit congregation in America. By the time my sister was 27, she ran a hospital. Life's not complicated. Why? Because my father, by the way, was a college president, never expected or thought that education was going to take and give me the stuff I needed to be successful. He put the right books in my life, planted the right seeds in my life. I was reading Success magazine going to Brazil a few years ago, and it had the 25 most important books to read if you want to be successful in life. I thought, oh, what an interesting article. And I read that article, and it had the book, and it had 3 or 4 paragraphs, the next book 3 or 4 paragraphs. And at the end, I thought, man, I know all these books. And then I thought, I wonder how many of these books I read by the time I graduated from high school. I went back and counted. Of the 25 books, 25 most important books to be successful in life. Of those 25 books, I had read 19 by the time I graduated from high school. Oh, by the way, the only reason I hadn't read the other 6, they hadn't been written yet. Yeah. I want to tell you right now, go home and start paying your kids an allowance to read books. I do that now. I do it with my kids, I do it with my grandchildren. My grandchildren keep what they call a Papa list. Yeah, Papa list. They call me Papa. They call Margaret Mimi. Margaret picks the names. She said, I want the kids to call me Mimi. I said, I like that. But she said, I don't want them to call you Pee-Pee. I said, gotcha. Agree with that. So they call me Papa, and in their reading program, when they read something that they think is a great quote or a great thought, they send it to me, and they say, does this make the Papa list? And if it makes the Papa list, they put it on their iPhone. Oh, yeah. If I had Madeline here today, she could probably teach for 2 hours on quotes that have made the Papa list. You see, Madeline's 15, and she's already got it figured out. There are people 51 that don't know what Madeline knows because I'm intentional with my kids. I'm intentional with my grandchildren. Intentional living. Folks, where did we ever get the idea that we could every day just let life open up and unfold to us, easy come, easy go, and somehow we could be successful? Well, whoever taught us that if you just don't think about it and you're unintentional, somehow life gives you a high return?